Seth Meyers. This is Late Night. We hope you're doing well. And now, if you don't mind, we're going to get to the news. After not appearing in public for a week, President Trump today held a White House press conference to announce that he will move U.S. Space Command from Colorado to Alabama. You needed a press conference for that? When you decide to bomb Iran, you announced it on social media, but I guess you needed to talk about something. You can't just have a press conference and say, "I'm alive, you jerks." After speculation on social media about his health, President Trump was photographed on Saturday at the White House with his granddaughter, Kai. So don't worry, everybody. It looks like President Trump is Joe Biden? Why is that photo so blurry? That looks like it was taken with an iPhone 1. President Trump addressed social media speculation about his health in a post over the weekend on Truth Social and said, quote, "Never felt better in my life." Okay, maybe your health is stable, but you're 79. You've definitely felt better. I mean, what about this? I mean, look how happy you were there. President Trump signed an executive order last week directing the Justice Department to prosecute people for desecrating the American flag because eventually he turns on everyone. The Treasury Department has reportedly compiled a list of 68 occupations that will qualify for President Trump's no tax on tips policy, which includes bartenders, plumbers, home electricians, and presidents. In a post over the weekend on Truth Social, President Trump criticized ABC News for featuring political commentator Donna Brazile and called her a, quote, "dumb retread." So either he learned a new word or his autocorrect saved him on that one. I owe you one autocorrect. New York City Republican mayoral candidate Curtis Sliwa over the weekend proposed using feral cats to reduce the rat population. And I guess I'm not surprised that a grown man who dresses like that gets all his ideas from cartoons. According to a new survey, 29% of Americans said it is unlikely that French people admire the American way of life. Oh, I think it's safe to say they don't. UNC football coach Bill Belichick last night made his college debut, and only 6 years after his girlfriend made her college debut. A DoorDash driver in Washington State allegedly crashed into a tree recently while high on meth and then set the car on fire before fleeing on foot, at least according to the app. And finally, the FDA has issued a recall for fresh and bagged frozen shrimp due to possible radioactive contamination. Incidentally, radioactive shrimp is also the new measles vaccine. End on a fun one. That was a monologue, everybody. Look at us. We're back. I'm so happy to be back. We've got a great show tonight. He's an Oscar and Emmy-nominated actor and writer you know from The Big Sick and Silicon Valley. He's currently starring in Oh Mary at the Lyceum Theater here in New York City. Kumail Nanjiani is back on the show. He's a Tony, Golden Globe-nominated actor you know from the Star Wars and Harry Potter franchises. He stars in The Paper, which is streaming on Peacock starting Thursday. Donald Gleason is back on the show. Getting the tips this week. My brother and I talked to Good Charlotte. A couple brothers talking to brothers. Give it a listen. It was absolutely fantastic. You guys, moving on. Donald Trump reemerged in public for the first time in a week after an unusual absence that stirred rumors about his health. For more on this, it's time for a closer look. We're back from a 2-week hiatus, and we missed a lot of stuff while we were gone. Though, in fairness, you could turn your phone off to watch a 90-minute movie and still miss a lot of stuff. Well, that was great. Now to check the news. What the We're buying Portugal? But apparently, we weren't the only ones on hiatus. Donald Trump disappeared for like a week, only to insist he's totally fine.
President Trump is attempting to dispel swirling rumors about his health. He was spotted out at his golf club in Virginia yesterday. Rumors that the president is facing health issues began circulating on social media because his schedule had been clear of public events for several days now.
Over the weekend, social media lit up with theories about the president's health. The president has not made any public appearances since his cabinet meeting about a week ago.
It's certainly very rare for President Trump to stay off camera for several days in a row, and that had some on social media speculating, enough so that President Trump posted in all caps, "Never felt better in my life."
Okay, well, right away we know you're lying. No 79-year-old has ever never felt better. When any 79-year-old says, "I've never felt better," you just assume they're being sarcastic or they're in cognitive decline. "I've never felt better." Well, that's just because you can't remember before, Pops. And by the way, no judgment. I'm 51. My main hobby is thinking about how much better I used to feel. I'd stay up until 4 a.m. drinking, then just wake up, go to work the next day without a problem. Now, if I so much as step on a Lego, I'm in a walking boot for 3 days. I hurt my neck last week from a dream I had. That's right, I had a dream I was crawling through a pipe and I woke up and my neck was and all I could think was, well, that's what you get for dreaming about pipes. Also, let's go back to this.
It's certainly very rare for President Trump to stay off camera for several days in a row.
But can I just say, in all sincerity, the week he wasn't on camera, I've never felt better. I mean, I felt great. Felt great, had that RFK Jr. energy, you know that energy? Where you just want to go do push-ups in your jeans. But seriously, rare is an understatement because Donald Trump has never voluntarily stayed off camera for more than 12 hours in his life. The dude is on camera more than an eagle's nest at the zoo. In fact, this is true. He carries a tiny little TV camera in his pocket everywhere he goes. It's like an EpiPen, you know? In case he's accidentally exposed to peace and quiet and has an allergic reaction. Oh my God, I'm sitting with my own thoughts. I'm starting to become introspective and reflect. I'm reflecting on my shortcomings. Must turn on little red light. Oh, there it is. Anyway, amid Trump's mysterious absence, the only clues we had about his daily whereabouts were the occasional Bigfoot-style glimpses of the president lurking around D.C. or his various golf properties, like this photo of Trump leaving the White House on Monday. Yeesh, I'm not saying he looks old, but he's starting to do the whole walk around with your mouth open thing that Joe Biden used to do. Usually when a new president comes in, the outgoing one leaves him a letter, but maybe Biden left Trump his essence? When they shook hands in the Oval Office, did they Freaky Friday mouths? Hey, congrats on the big win, but joke's on you because you got my jaw now, yeah. Yeah, now you can't close it. Makes you look dumb. Seriously, look at that. It looks like Trump's on his way to ghost practice. Poor Secret Service agent always has to hear about it. Big day today, Ron. We're going to try to make a book fall off a shelf. Oh, I forgot my chains. Speaking of ghosts, another observation I want to make about that picture. Trump is very pale, which somehow makes him look both older and also way more normal than he usually looks. Like, as bad as Trump looks in the first photo compared to what he normally looks like, and you tell me, which one looks more like a normal human being? Trump finally emerged from isolation today, and it sounds like the time off did the opposite of wonders.
President Trump earlier announcing that the administration is going to relocate the headquarters of U.S. Space Command from Colorado Springs, Colorado, to Huntsville, Alabama.
I am thrilled to report that the U.S. Space Command headquarters will move to the beautiful locale of a place called Huntsville, Alabama, forever to be known from this point forward as Rocket City.
What do you mean from this point forward? It's already known as Rocket City, and it has been for a long time. That's like you saying New York will henceforth be known as the Big Apple. A week away, and this is the best you can come up with, this is the kind of announcement you definitely think of with your mouth wide open. Any idea on what to call the city with the rockets? I might have something. So Trump basically disappeared for a week. The last time we saw him on camera before today was a cabinet meeting at the White House a week ago, where his team took turns slobbering absurd praise all over him.
Our country has never been so secure thanks to you. You had the overwhelming mandate from the American people.
I'm grateful to the American people for electing you.
Thank you for your leadership, for your boldness, for your clarity, for common sense.
This is just such a great opportunity, really, to recognize your leadership as a true champion for working people.
There's only one thing I wish for, that noble committee finally gets its act together and realizes that you are the single finest candidate since the Nobel Peace, this Nobel Award was ever talked about, to receive that reward.
Well, those noble people are going to see that, and I think be. That was a really convincing argument, and I think over at Noble. Let's go open some eyes over at Noble, let me just say. Jesus, I mean, Trump probably needed a few days away because even he was grossed out by that display. Just sitting there being like, that was a lot. That was over the top. They talk about me like I'm an insecure child. Am I projecting? Also, can we revisit this comment from Trump's Middle East envoy, Steve Witkoff?
There's only one thing I wish for, that noble committee finally gets its act together and realizes that you are the single finest candidate since the Nobel Peace, this Nobel Award was ever talked about.
That's the only thing you wish for. Not for world peace, but for Trump to get credit for world peace. I'd love to see this guy rub a genie's lamp. I shall grant you 3 wishes. All right, number 1, give my friend Donald Trump the Nobel, the peace, whatever, you go. Number 2, give him $1 billion. Number 3, switch his mouth back with Joe Biden's mouth. Seriously, looks like the 18th hole in a mini golf course. It's freaking us all out. That was the same meeting, by the way, where Trump claimed he had unlimited power and suggested many people actually want him to be a dictator.
So the line is that I'm a dictator, but I stop crime. So a lot of people say, you know, if that's the case, I'd rather have a dictator. I would have the right to do anything I want to do. I'm the president of the United States.
Yeah, famously, that's how it works. We all remember when President Obama was in office and Fox News spent all of its time screaming that Obama's a dictator, and that's a good thing. We don't have to play the what if a Democrat said this game because we all know the answer. In fact, this is what Fox was actually saying about Obama back in 2014.
This is truly the imperial presidency.
Sure.
The president wants to just, be king for a day.
You have an imperial presidency. He's ruling by executive fiat. That is not how our framers designed our Constitution, and our Constitution matters. Otherwise, we're shredding it, we shred it, and the country itself is hurt.
Do Republicans think we can't go back and find old clips of stuff they said a decade ago? Because we can. We have it all on VHS, baby. We got Republicans on presidential corruption. Oh, Fox News on government overreach. That's a good one. And, that time Obama wore a tan suit and Republicans lost their mind. And yes, we asked NBC if we could upgrade from VHS to digital, and they said it wasn't possible, but they did give me a VHS of the Friends episode, the one where Joey moves out. So, yeah. I'm a valued employee. So Trump claims he can do whatever he wants, but while he's been hiding away at his golf course, the courts have stepped in to express their disagreement.
Breaking news, a major legal blow to President Trump late on this Friday. A federal appeals court striking down Trump's punishing tariffs, calling them illegal. The court writing that Trump does not possess the power under the law to impose taxes on nearly all imports into the United States.
A federal judge has blocked the federal government from deporting potentially hundreds of unaccompanied children from Guatemala.
The federal judge has just ruled that both President Trump and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth violated federal law by using the U.S. military in Los Angeles this summer.
So basically everything he does is illegal. Troops, tariffs, even his dance moves are against public decency laws. The reality of Trump's disappearance is that he doesn't need to be at the White House. He's old, he's checked out, and his most radical advisors are running the show. Trump spent so little time in D.C., he might as well move to a beautiful locale known as
Rocket City.
This has been a closer look.